In the 72nd minute, when his name appeared on the electronic board, Vinicius screamed in the middle of the pitch, "It's always me. I'm leaving the team, it's better if I go." Then he walked straight into the tunnel, leaving the crowd in shock. It wasn't just a momentary outburst, but seemed to reflect a deep rift in the relationship between the Brazilian star and the new coach, Xabi Alonso. The story immediately spread across Spanish newspapers. Could it be that the Brazilian player is feeling abandoned amid the Mbappe-Alonso era? And if that's the case, what should Real Madrid do? Continue to be patient with an emotional genius, or make a decisive break to protect the stability of the dressing room? It didn't all begin on a night of El Clásico. The tension had been simmering since the summer of 2025, when Real Madrid entered the Xabi Alonso era. After Carlo Ancelotti's departure, Alonso returned to the Bernabeu, bringing with him his signature football philosophy: discipline, balance, and total teamwork. The legendary former midfielder sought to rebuild Real into a more controlled side, reducing their reliance on individual brilliance, something that had defined the 25-year-old Brazilian's game for years. The early season numbers said it all. After 13 matches in all competitions, he had started 10 but completed the full 90 minutes only 3 times. The feeling of being replaced grew stronger, especially as Alonso often substituted him early to tighten control of the game, tension that ultimately exploded during El Clásico. In the 72nd minute, when his name flashed on the board, Vinicius shouted, "It's always me. I'm leaving, it's better if I go." He threw his bib angrily toward the technical area and stormed down the tunnel, though he later returned to the bench. After the final whistle, tempers flared again as Vinicius confronted Lamine Yamal. The match ended in chaos with 5 yellow cards and 1 red. In the post-match interview, Vinicius tried to ease the tension. "El Clásico is always emotional. On and off the pitch. I didn't mean to disrespect anyone." Alonso, calm as ever, downplayed the incident. "I'm happy with Vinicius, I just wish he'd scored." However, Spanish media reported that Real Madrid's management sided with Alonso and warned the Samba star that such behavior could not be repeated in a dressing room striving for unity and stability. Following the El Clásico outburst, speculation about Vinicius's future surged. According to AS and the Daily Mail, the Brazilian forward is seriously considering leaving Real Madrid, believing that Alonso no longer trusts him or gives him the respect his past contributions deserve. Once untouchable in Ancelotti's attack, Vinicius now finds himself in a rotation system, often subbed off midway through the second half, a clear sign that he's no longer indispensable at the Bernabeu. Inside sources claim that Real's board fully backs Alonso's strict approach and are prepared to prioritize the team over any individual. Some members of the club's sporting committee reportedly wouldn't rule out selling Vinicius if a substantial offer arrived. Still, the player insists he doesn't want to leave, provided Alonso supports him the way he has supported Mbappe. Contractually, Vinicius is tied to Real until 2027, with a transfer value estimated at over €150 million. He's not only a key player on the pitch but also a face of the club and Adidas, as well as a leading voice in La Liga's anti-racism campaign. Letting him go would be a seismic decision, both athletically and commercially. The controversy surrounding Vinny has divided public opinion into 2 distinct camps. On one side, supporters argue he's simply a victim of emotion, a player who plays with his heart rather than his head. Over the years, he's endured countless racist abuses across Spanish stadiums, making him emotionally fragile and quick to react. In El Clásico, they say, he merely couldn't accept being taken off while still playing well, an act born of passion, not arrogance. After carrying Real Madrid through the post-Benzema era, feeling sidelined in this new regime is, to many, perfectly understandable. However, there's no shortage of criticism either. Real Madrid has never lacked stars who once fell into the trap of ego. Players like Gareth Bale, James Rodriguez, and Ángel Di Maria all eventually had to leave when they put themselves above the team. Vinicius's public outburst, shouting in front of millions of global viewers, was seen as unprofessional and damaging to the royal image that Real Madrid has long sought to uphold. Compared to Mbappe's composure, Bellingham's maturity, or Rodrigo's humility, Vinny still shows a clear gap in emotional maturity. For the club's management, this presents a difficult dilemma. Xabi Alonso views discipline as the cornerstone of success, and he has no intention of breaking that principle for the sake of a single star. If the 25-year-old winger continues to resist, he could be placed on the transfer list. Yet selling the player who helped Real Madrid win the Champions League in 2022 and 2024 would also mean losing a piece of the club's soul, and the Brazilian flair that has long been part of its golden identity. From a tactical standpoint, the conflict between Vinicius and Alonso goes beyond personality. It represents the clash between the artist and the system. Alonso has built a modern team based on high pressing, quick ball circulation, and balanced attacking play structured around Bellingham and Mbappe. His philosophy demands positional discipline, synchronized movement, and minimal unnecessary dribbling. Vinicius, however, is the opposite type of player, instinctive, daring, and unpredictable. His flair and freedom can ignite Real's attack, but they can also disrupt Alonso's system. On several occasions, his solo plays have left the team vulnerable to counterattacks, forcing Alonso to make tactical changes or substitute him earlier than planned. His outburst in El Clásico was the final straw, a moment that not only broke the game's rhythm but also affected the team's morale. Especially in such a high-stakes clash with Barcelona. Inside the dressing room, the atmosphere has become tense. Many players back Alonso's emphasis on discipline, seeing it as the foundation for Real's resurgence. Meanwhile, younger teammates like Rodrigo, Valverde, and Tchouaméni admire Vinicius but prefer to stay out of the conflict. Among fans, the divide is just as sharp. After the emotional meltdown in El Clásico, Real Madrid now faces three strategic options regarding Vinicius's future. Option 1. Keep Vinicius and resolve the issue internally. This would be a reconciliatory approach. Alonso could meet privately with the 2000-born star for an open discussion, setting clear boundaries between creativity and discipline. If the two find common ground, Real could rebuild the fearsome attacking trident of Mbappe, Vinicius, and Bellingham, potentially the most lethal trio in Europe. The club could also leverage Vinicius's brand value by helping him reshape his image into that of a more mature, professional leader on and off the pitch. Option 2. Sell while his value is high. If tensions with Alonso worsen, Real might take the pragmatic route and cash in on him for a fee between €150 minus 180 million. Clubs like PSG, Chelsea, and Manchester United would be ready to spend big. The proceeds could fund younger talents or strengthen midfield depth in line with Alonso's long-term vision. Option 3. Wait until summer 2026 before deciding. This is the safest choice. Real could monitor his attitude, form, and relationship with Alonso over the next season. If the Brazilian shows growth and adaptability, he could reclaim his central role. If not, a calm, orderly separation in 2026 would be the most reasonable conclusion for both sides. Vinicius embodies the modern Real Madrid, a player of immense natural talent, raw emotion, and relentless ambition, yet still learning control and maturity. For now, the club shouldn't rush to part ways. He remains a priceless asset, capable of turning matches around and carrying the South American spirit that the Bernabeu faithful adore. At the same time, Real Madrid must reaffirm its core principle: no one is bigger than the club. Discipline and collective identity must always come first, even for those who have written chapters of history. If Vinicius can adapt and mature within Alonso's system, he can still be a cornerstone of the new era. But if emotion continues to outweigh reason, a painful separation will be inevitable, because Real Madrid does not keep players for their past, only for their fit with the future. The choice now rests with Vinicius.